Goddess Bless You from Death is a 2026 BL Licorne, and it stars Pavel Poo. This is a couple that has the kind of alchemy you always want to see out of a BL couple. They are fantastic. I've only seen the first episode, which is what my first impression is confined to. So I'll jump right on into my pros and cons. And my first pro is them. Like, they're an auto pro. I'm so happy to see that they are still together. And then we'll move into my cons. My first con is the ghost disbelief is quite repetitive. If you watch this, you'll see it. And yeah, I'll save it up for the premise. My next con is that the story building is a little slow for me. The episodes are over an hour long. So I'm going to jump into the premise instead of the conclusion, because there's not really much to conclude about chapter 1. Not really. So this drama kicks off with a crime scene. One thing that I should have put down was a pro is the genre. They really are trying here. They're inside of a supernatural, maybe slightly thriller, maybe mystery, like all three meshed together. I think that this is ambitious of them, and I appreciate it, especially seeing Pavel and Pooh star in this. I like that it seems that they chose something that was off the beaten path, and it's really refreshing to know that they want something more than that predictable Mechanics University, even though I wish they would go back, because Mechanics University was when Licorne BL were fire. So there's a crime scene, but it's not your typical crime scene. It's a crime scene riddled with ick, because the setting is an old defunct mall. It's no longer open, which means that there's all types of growth in this mall. And one thing that's grown in this mall is a damn tree. And this tree has bodies as ornaments, 6 or 7 of them to be exact. And they're all ended in the exact same way, hung with their mouths and eyes sewn shut. Whomever did this obviously is a very sick individual, but as the detectives come on scene and other folks arrive from law enforcement, everybody's icked out because, I mean, this is what they do. You know, they're crime scene investigators, so this is kind of their job. But everybody feels this added layer of, wow, something's not right here. And many characters constantly say something is not right. So Udi Deer, Salawat, he's walking around casing the place because, of course, it is his task to solve this case. Okay, I know y'all feel icky. I know everybody's creeped out and it seems like it's something else going on in here, but we still got a job to do. Can you say that it's icky while you walking around with me, picking up clues and shit? So he's doing that, and he bumps into Pooh. Pooh is traumatized. He's injured, and baby, you guilty. We gonna slap these cuffs on you. We're gonna take you to the police station. Because in true crime, if your ass is the only one that's alive at the scene and everybody else is dead, you did it. It's logical, except it isn't. Because Pooh had a very bleak beginning. His mother, sent him to a monastery with the monks, and they chanted over him, and a monk prophesied that, you know what, your life's going to be difficult because you have a seeing eye. Literally, the heterochromia. He's got a gray eye and he's got a brown eye. And that gray eye sees the dead. So when they take him to the police station and put him into, an interview room, he's climbing up the walls because there's a ghost in there. And unfortunately, the ghost that exists in this room makes people do things to themselves. Ultimately, if you catch my drift, everybody who's ever been put in that interrogation room and left alone ends up swinging off of something when they come back. So he's headed to that, but he kind of snaps out of it. He's got his belt off his body and he's ready to get it going until he kind of like snaps out of it. Now we know Pavel, his character is like a straight laced detective who is logical. Did y'all know that logical was like a word of the month? I have used that word more this month than I think I've ever used it in my life anyway. He's logical, he's reasoned. He only deals in reality, baby. Only in, this reality. And he's like, you gonna keep on talking about these ghosts and shit, and I'm gonna keep telling you that you was the only one there. And when we get this DNA back, when your hands or prints or whatever are all over these corpses, you going to jail even though you fine as hell. And I keep gazing in your eyes for a long time every time you touch me, because you're like grabbing on me, you're like trying to climb up me to get away from these ghosts. So Pavel decides he gonna take him to a different room, a room that's not quite so interrogation-y. I'm gonna take you to just a conference room. And he still has to come and get him because he's climbing up the walls, because Pooh can see. He has a seeing eye. And unfortunately, his head Buddhist monk died. His Shifu died. And because of this, now he doesn't have that protection. Shifu was like a real Zen monk. So as long as he was alive, Pooh was safe from these hauntings, or from these visions. But now that he died, he's fodder. And he can answer no questions about how he ended up in that mall, how everything ended up, except to say that he can see these things and he did everything he could do to fight, out of a situation where nobody can see anything that's happening except him. So it's not long in the episode before we find out that Pooh and Pavel have a special connection. When Pooh is around Pavel, ain't no more ghosts. So you do realize that this is how we're going to kick over into a cohabitation plot, which I love and I know you love too. So he's like, can I just go with you? And it's really satisfying because Pavel, he's that straight-laced, that guy that doesn't play, drinks coffee after he exercises, like just a steaming cup of coffee after he runs 3 miles, just something just uncomfortable. So he's like, you think I'm actually about to take you home with me because you're scared? But this is after they've kind of had a little bit of a staring competition with each other. And it's like, okay, you like him. So he lets him come home with him, because in Pavel's mind, it's like, I don't really know what's going on with this guy. The DNA came back. His DNA isn't on there, but I do have to get to the bottom of this, because I don't know if the chief inspector or whatever is his dad or what. I thought I heard him say pa, but either way it goes, his chief inspector wants this case solved. And he doesn't appear like he cares who you blame it on. Just get it over and done with, because the public is freaked out and they're like, look, you need to do something, because if you don't come up with something, it's going to be some problems. So Pavel is like, okay, there's pressure. So Pavel is kind of, projecting that onto Pooh. And he's like, okay, your stuff wasn't on it. Your DNA was not on any of those corpses, but your ass was there. So there's got to be more to this story than you're letting on, and cut out, the ghost talk, because I don't care what okay, you see ghosts, fine. Who killed these people who are not ghosts? So he goes home with him. He goes to sleep, and, in the morning he struggles to wake him up because Pooh has not been able to get any sleep. Because remember, since Shifu's dead, he's been living on his own and probably get haunted every single day and night and all that. It's an awful existence if you think about it. And the only time he's had sleep since Shifu died is when he went home with Pavel. So actually that's adorable, because Pavel, just his mere presence enables him to sleep and to sleep soundly. So he struggled to get him up, but then he got him up, and then they went and they, did a little digging. And this kind of goes into, my cons. This is a drama, and dramas are going to drama. And I know Pavel has to keep up his exterior of being that straight-laced guy who only deals with logic. But the whole, there are ghosts, I don't believe. There are ghosts, I don't believe. There are ghosts. It's a little much, is what I'll say. You're almost ready for Pavel to just start becoming a believer because there's nothing insincere about Pooh. But, logically speaking, Pavel is doing the right thing by continuing to resist what seems on the surface to be absurd. So the way that episode 1 ends is this. Pavel and Pooh are together, baby, if you ask me. But, they come to the office together because, Pooh ain't going nowhere. Pooh is not leaving his side because he has to be with him in order for these hauntings not to happen. But the chief inspector, he has got another inspector on the job. And this new inspector is somebody that is clearly an enemy of Pavel, because when he introduces this inspector, his dad is like, we're going to put this special, inspector on the job, this special detective, and we're going to have him look at it. And the public is just kind of cheering, and, the news anchors and everybody that's there, the journalists, are really super excited because when you put Salawat King on the case, this is really about to be something, because he's probably got this impeccable case solving ability, but Pavel hates him for some reason, and that reason we'll never know. Well, we will know, but we'll never know it in the first episode, because that's the cliffhanger for the first episode. As far as a star rating for this, I just love seeing Pavel and Pooh, but I have to give it maybe a 2-star, because they are the only reason why I would not only finish episode 1, but give episode 2 a shot. But I'm endeavoring this year to make sure I finish what I start. So with that in mind, I suppose I'm in it for the long haul with this drama. What say you? What BLs are you watching? I really would love to know if you would comment in the comments, because, man, I haven't found a BL that I'm just like, yes, I have got to watch this. Even if it's in 2025 and you're like, yeah, I'm watching this right now and it's really, really good. I love recommendations. I know you love recommendations, which is the point of this whole channel. So I sincerely thank you to any who have recommended a drama to me. Heated Rivalry was a rec I got from one of you illustrious viewers. Thank you so much for recommending that. And I would have kicked myself if I would have not seen that. So I want to thank you again for listening. I hope you will join me back so that we can jump into more dramas in 2026. We are going to conquer this year, even though it feels just like 2025. We're going to do this our way anyway. Talk to you on the next drama.